The galaxy laughed at Earth. For centuries, the empires of the stars saw humanity as weak, fragile, and late to space. They had arrived long after others, building smaller ships, slower engines, and weaker weapons. In every council chamber, in every alien tavern, Earth was a joke. The humans? They mocked. Dreamers. Pretenders. Nothing more. So when Earth announced it was working on a prototype warship, the galaxy roared with laughter. An experimental human battleship? To the mighty fleets of the empires, it sounded like a child building a toy sword. Reports leaked of its unusual design, strange energy systems, and secret construction yards hidden in orbit. But no one took them seriously. The Galactic Empire, the most powerful of them all, dismissed it outright. Their admirals bragged that their dreadnoughts outnumbered Earth's entire navy 10-1. Their war academies even used Earth as an example of failure. Do not waste resources on weak experiments, the instructors told their cadets. Remember Earth's prototype, a ship that will never matter. But deep on Earth, something was happening that the galaxy could not see. In hidden shipyards above the blue planet, engineers worked day and night. They were not building a toy. They were not building a copy of alien warships. They were building something new. Something that carried all of humanity's history of survival, struggle, and war within its steel. The ship took shape slowly, sleek, sharp, and different from any vessel before. Its hull shimmered with a dark alloy unknown to the galaxy. Its engines pulsed with energy patterns no alien scanner could predict. Its weapons were hidden, silent, waiting. The crew who trained aboard it swore an oath. They would prove to the galaxy that Earth was not weak, that humanity was not a joke. Still, beyond human space, the galaxy continued to laugh. Reports of the prototype were mocked in every council meeting. What can one ship do against an empire? Sneered the Dominion of Vayar. What can one toy do against 1,000 warships? Chuckled the Ilari Dominion. Even neutral traders dismissed the stories. No one believed Earth had the skill, the courage, or the resources to build something that could threaten the galaxy's fleets. But there were whispers. Smugglers passing near human space claimed to see shadows larger than cities drifting through the void. Mining colonies reported strange energy surges that disrupted their scanners. A few reckless pirates swore they had attacked the prototype and vanished without a trace. Survivors whispered that their weapons had no effect, that the ship moved faster than thought, that it destroyed entire raiding bands with a single strike. No one listened to them. The galaxy wanted to laugh, not to believe. Then came the fateful day. The Galactic Empire, growing arrogant, decided to teach Earth a lesson. They sent a fleet, 100 warships, into human space. Their commanders wanted to humiliate the humans, to capture their so-called prototype and drag it through the stars as a trophy. Let the galaxy see Earth's failure with their own eyes, they declared. We will break their toy and remind them of their place. On Earth, the alarms rang. The prototype was not finished. Its systems were still experimental. Its weapons had never been tested in real battle. Even its crew knew they were stepping into the unknown. But they had no choice. Earth's colonies were at risk. The Empire was coming, and so, the prototype warship launched. The crew felt the weight of history pressing on their shoulders as the massive vessel rose from its hidden shipyards. Engines flared, systems came alive, and the ship moved into the black sky for the first time. Humanity's greatest gamble drifted toward the stars. The galaxy did not believe in it. The Empire mocked it. Even some humans doubted it. But as the battleship cut through space, sleek and silent, a truth began to form. This was no toy. This was no experiment. This was humanity's answer to centuries of laughter. The moment the prototype left Earth's orbit, the galaxy's fate began to shift. And in the distance, the Empire's fleet moved closer, unaware that the ship they came to destroy would change everything. The news spread quickly. Earth's prototype warship had left its hidden shipyard and was now moving through space. Across the galaxy, laughter returned for a moment. To the empires, this was comedy. A single human battleship against their massive fleets? Impossible. A hopeless dream. The Galactic Empire in particular saw an opportunity. They would crush this toy ship in full view of the galaxy and end the whispers of human strength once and for all. Within days, the Emperor gave the order. A fleet of 150 warships, dreadnoughts, cruisers, and destroyers would move into human space. Their mission was simple: capture the prototype, drag it back to the core as a prize, and parade it as proof of humanity's weakness. If resistance was met, Earth itself would be bombarded until nothing remained. The admirals of the fleet laughed as they prepared. "One ship?" they mocked. "It will not last 5 minutes." Crews bet on how quickly it would fall. Some said, an hour, some less than 10 minutes. No one believed Earth's creation could survive. But as the fleet gathered, unease crept among the lower ranks. Rumors had already been spreading. Scouts who approached human borders had not returned. Pirates whispered about massive black shapes drifting through the void. Convoys had vanished without distress calls. And always the same word was spoken in hushed voices: prototype. Still, the admirals dismissed the fear. "Stories to frighten children," they said. "When our fleet arrives, the truth will be clear." The armada advanced. Hundreds of engines lit up the dark, streaking across space like a storm. Alien citizens across the galaxy tuned into broadcasts, expecting a spectacle. Networks promised live updates, confident the Empire would humiliate Earth. "Watch as humanity's toy burns," one anchor declared. On Earth, panic spread among the colonies. People knew what was coming. The Empire's fleet was unstoppable, at Q, least against any normal navy. But Earth was not planning to fight with a normal ship. In orbit, the prototype's crew readied themselves. They had trained for this moment, though many still trembled. They were not fighting pirates this time. They were facing the galaxy's most powerful empire. Inside the command deck, the captain looked over his officers. Their faces were pale, but their eyes burned with determination. "They think we are weak," he said quietly. "They think one ship cannot stand against many, but this ship is not like theirs. This ship is ours. And today, we show them what Earth has become." The prototype powered up, systems glowing with energy the galaxy had never seen before. Its engines pulsed silently, bending the void around it. Its weapons, hidden deep within its sleek frame, hummed with restrained power. Every system came online, and for the first time, humanity's greatest creation was ready for war. The Empire's fleet entered human space without hesitation. Their sensors scanned, their weapons charged, their confidence unshaken. "Find the prototype," the Admiral ordered, "and destroy it." Minutes later, their scanners detected something: a single ship, alone, drifting ahead. The crew laughed. "There it is," one captain shouted, "the great human experiment." But then they fell silent, because the closer they looked, the more uneasy they became. The prototype did not look like their ships. Its hull was dark, absorbing light. Its design was sleek, sharp, and almost alive. Strange energy rippled across its surface, energy no scanner could identify. It was not decorated with banners or colors. It was not painted in pride. It was simple, cold, and built only for war. The Admiral smirked. "Intimidation tricks. Fire when ready." The fleet prepared its first volley. Hundreds of cannons locked on target, missiles loaded, plasma charged. The void lit up as the order was given. The first wave of fire roared toward the lone human ship. Inside the prototype, alarms blared. The crew held their breath. This was the moment. The captain stood tall, watching as the enemy's weapons closed in. Then, calmly, he gave the command. "Engage the system." The ship's core pulsed, its experimental drive activated for the first time in battle. And in that instant, the prototype disappeared. The Empire's weapons tore through empty space, striking nothing. Confusion exploded across their comms. "Where did it go?" captains shouted. "Scanners lost contact." Then, without warning, the prototype reappeared. Behind them, its weapons glowed, and the real battle was about to begin. The Empire's fleet filled the stars like a wall of steel and fire. 150 warships in perfect formation, their weapons glowing, their commanders confident. Against them stood one ship, the prototype, silent, alone, waiting. When the first volley of fire tore through the void, the admirals expected the human vessel to be vaporized instantly, but the plasma bolts and missiles ripped through nothing. The prototype was gone. Confusion spread across the comms. "What happened?" one captain demanded. "Scanners lost it," another shouted. The admirals barked orders, furious, but their sensors showed only empty space. Then, like a shadow rising from the dark, the prototype reappeared, behind the fleet. Gasps filled every ship as the massive human vessel materialized in silence. No flash of energy, no warp signature, no warning. One moment it wasn't there, the next it was. Its hull glowed faintly, sleek and cold, as though the void itself bent around it. The admiral tried to recover. "Turn the fleet," he ordered. "Lock all weapons." But before the fleet could adjust, the prototype struck. Its weapons fired for the first time. No one had ever seen technology like it. Beams of energy, sharp and invisible, tore through the Empire's cruisers as if they were made of paper. Shields collapsed instantly. Armor plates melted. Entire ships split in half with surgical precision. There was no explosion of fire, no chaotic blasts, just cold, clean destruction. The fleet panicked. Crews screamed over the comms. "We can't track it. Our shields are useless. It's cutting us apart." The prototype vanished again. Missiles launched blindly into empty space. Plasma cannons roared into the void. But every shot missed. Then the human warship reappeared, this time above the fleet. It fired once more. 3 dreadnoughts, massive. Ships that had ruled battles for centuries cracked open like shells. Their wreckage drifted silently, fire spilling into the void. The battle was not a fight. It was a slaughter. The prototype moved like no ship ever had. It blinked in and out, of existence appearing wherever it chose, striking with deadly precision. Every time the Empire thought they had cornered it, it was gone. Every time they thought it was gone, it reappeared in their blind spots, tearing them apart. Within 15 minutes, a third of the Empire's fleet was gone, destroyed not by hundreds of ships, but by one. The prototype. The admiral's voice cracked over the comms. "This is impossible. One ship cannot do this." But his own crew knew the truth. This was no ordinary ship. This was humanity's creation, born from silence, forged in secrecy, built for survival. And it was rewriting the rules of war before their eyes. Desperation gripped the Empire's captains. They formed defensive walls surrounding their dreadnoughts, trying to shield themselves from the predator that hunted them. But it was useless. The prototype blinked behind their formation, fired and blinked away again. Walls meant nothing. Numbers meant nothing. Observers from neutral factions who had followed the Empire's fleet watched in horror. Hidden drones recorded every moment, transmitting the battle across the galaxy. Billions of eyes saw what happened. Billions saw the impossible. Billions saw one human warship tear apart the pride of the Galactic Empire. And for the first time, in centuries, the galaxy was silent. The prototype continued its dance. Ship after ship fell. Cruisers disintegrated. Carriers exploded. Fighters never even launched. The void was filled with wreckage, the screams of dying crews echoing through open channels. At last, the admiral gave the order no one expected to hear. "Retreat! Retreat at once!" The remaining ships turned, engines blazing, desperate to escape. But even retreat was not safety. The prototype appeared before them, cutting off their path. Its weapons fired again, slicing through destroyers, as though they were air. Finally, with what was left of his voice, the admiral begged, "Stop. Please. We surrender." The prototype fell silent. Its weapons dimmed. For a long, terrible moment, nothing moved. The Empire's surviving crews held their breath, expecting annihilation. But then slowly the prototype turned. It drifted back, leaving the shattered fleet behind. The survivors were allowed to live, not spared out of mercy, spared so they could carry the story back to the galaxy, spared so they could tell the truth, that one human ship, just one, had destroyed an empire's armada, and the result shocked the galaxy. The battlefield was a graveyard. Wreckage of the empire's once proud fleet floated in silence, glowing with fires that refused to die. The stars themselves seemed dimmer, as if they too had witnessed something they could not believe. One ship, one human prototype, against 150 warships. And the result was clear. The surviving captains limped back to the core, their ships scarred, their crews shaken, their voices broken. They did not return as soldiers of victory. They returned as witnesses. And what they carried back was not triumph, but fear. Their testimonies spread like fire. They told of a human vessel that moved like a phantom, vanishing and reappearing at will. They described weapons that cut through shields like paper, that tore apart dreadnoughts with single strikes. They spoke of silence, of precision, of death delivered without mercy. And they all repeated the same truth. The Empire's fleet had not fought a battle. It had been hunted. The galaxy listened, and for the first time in living memory, the laughter was gone. On neutral worlds, civilians gathered in taverns and marketplaces, watching shaky recordings captured by hidden drones. They saw the prototype blink in and out of existence, saw dreadnoughts split in half, saw fire fill the stars. Gasps turned into silence, silence into whispers, and whispers into fear. The phrase repeated across every world. One ship destroyed, them all. The empires tried to control the story. The Dominion of Vayar insisted the battle was exaggerated. The Ilari Dominion claimed the Empire had staged the fight for political reasons. The Zorath Collective argued that the recordings were fake, but their own soldiers, their own scouts, their own people had seen enough to know the truth. No denial could erase it. In the academies of the Corps, cadets who had been taught to mock humanity now watched the battle as a training lesson. In silence, their instructors admitted what no one had dared say before. Underestimate Earth and you will fall. The Empire itself trembled. Their admirals, once proud, now avoided public appearances. Their war councils, once filled with confidence, now echoed with fear. The Emperor ordered silence about the battle, but it was too late. The galaxy had seen everything. His fleet was gone, his pride shattered, his power wounded, and everyone knew it. Across the colonies, people whispered of Earth with new voices, not as a joke, not as a forgotten world, but as a shadow rising from the dark. Traders spoke carefully when they said the word human. Smugglers refused to approach their borders. Even pirates avoided human space, swearing they saw giant shapes lurking in the void waiting to strike. And yet, the most terrifying part was not the destruction itself. It was what came after. The prototype did not press the attack. It did not hunt the survivors to extinction. It did not invade the Empire's worlds. It simply vanished, disappearing into the black, leaving behind only wreckage and silence. Why? That question spread faster than fear. Why had the humans allowed survivors to live? Why had they pulled back instead of claiming victory? Some believed it was mercy. Others believed it was arrogance. But the most chilling theory spread in whispers, that the humans wanted witnesses, that they wanted the galaxy to know what had happened, that this was not conquest. It was a message, and the message was clear. Earth was no longer weak. Earth was no longer a joke. Earth was here. In the Council of Nine Suns, leaders gathered in panic. Some demanded immediate alliances against Earth. Others insisted on peace, even surrender, before humanity unleashed more ships. Their debates filled the chamber with fear and fury. But beneath all the shouting, one truth bound them together. If one prototype could destroy an armada, what would happen if Earth built a fleet of them? Would the galaxy even survive? On Earth itself, silence reigned. The people celebrated quietly, knowing they had done the impossible. But the prototype's crew did not boast. They did not cheer. They knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would return, the galaxy would prepare, and now every eye was watching. The battle was over. But the war for respect had just begun. The galaxy had wanted to laugh at humanity's prototype. Now it could only whisper in fear. And across every world, every empire, every fleet, the same thought haunted them all. If one human prototype could do this, what would happen when the next ones were ready? The story of the battle spread faster than light. One human prototype had faced one of the strongest fleets in the galaxy, and the fleet had been shattered. The survivors returned broken, whispering of weapons beyond imagination, of a ship that moved like a ghost, of destruction delivered with surgical precision. Their words echoed across the stars, repeated in fear. One ship destroyed them all. The galaxy was changed forever. In marketplaces on neutral worlds, traders huddled together, no longer mocking Earth, but whispering its name in awe. If one prototype can do this, they asked, how many more are they building? In pirate havens, raiders spoke in hushed voices, swearing never to touch human space again. Even smugglers, bold and reckless, avoided Earth's borders, claiming they saw dark shadows watching from the void. The empires tried to hide their fear. The Dominion of Vaer boasted that they still had fleets larger than any human could build. The Ilari Dominion spread propaganda, insisting the prototype was a trick, an illusion. The Zorith Collective argued that the ship's power came from stolen technology. But their words sounded hollow, even to their own people. Because all across the galaxy, billions had seen the recordings. They had seen dreadnoughts split in half. They had seen shields collapse like glass. They had seen silence win against fire. And no denial could erase that truth. The Council of Nine Suns met in emergency session. The rulers shouted at one another, fear dripping from every word. We must unite against Earth, one declared. If they can build a fleet of these ships, the galaxy is finished. Another slammed his fist, demanding peace before humanity unleashed its wrath. We must kneel before them now, or we may not get the chance later. The chamber filled with chaos, but no decision came. Because deep inside, every ruler already knew. The balance of power had shifted. On Earth, the people watched in silence. They had always known the galaxy mocked them, dismissed them, called them weak. But now, with one ship, they had proven the truth. The prototype's victory was not just a battle. It was a warning, a promise, a glimpse of what humanity had become. The ship itself returned to orbit silent as ever. Its crew stepped onto Earth's soil, carrying the weight of history on their shoulders. They had faced the galaxy's might and survived. They had shown that humanity's time had come. Yet there was no parade, no celebration. The victory was too heavy for that. They understood the message they had sent. Earth would not bow, Earth would not break, and Earth would not be forgotten again. But in the shadows of Earth's shipyards, something even greater was stirring. Engineers and builders worked tirelessly. The prototype had been only the beginning. More ships were under construction, bigger, faster, stronger. The galaxy had seen one, but what would happen when they faced 10, or 50, or 100? That thought haunted every empire. The galaxy had mocked Earth for centuries. Now the same galaxy lived in fear of them. And the fear was not of Earth's armies or colonies. It was of their silence. The humans did not boast. They did not demand surrender. They did not conquer worlds. They simply proved their power and vanished back into the void. That silence was worse than fire, worse than words. It meant control. It meant patience. It meant humanity could strike again whenever they wished. Across the stars, a new phrase replaced the old laughter. It was whispered in council chambers, in barracks, in schools, in homes. A simple truth. If the humans send their prototypes, the war is already lost. The galaxy had entered a new age. Not the age of empires, not the age of fleets, not the Age of laughter. It was the age of humanity. And somewhere in the endless silence of space, the prototype drifted, waiting. Its engines pulsed faintly. Its weapons glowed softly. And its crew stood ready, knowing the galaxy would never be the same. Then, across the stars, a single human voice whispered into the void. Calm, cold, final. We are here. This time, no one mocked. This time, no one doubted. This time, the galaxy listened, and the galaxy trembled.